log in with my email and my password, and I should be good to go. Okay, so here I am on my home page. I can set up my profile with some different options that are displayed. I can explain where I'm from and what kind of work I do. I can join different communities. Okay, here's all the communities of practice again. Something like bee health has 100 members. Beef cattle has 305. So some communities of practice have more members than others. I can find colleagues to discuss on the system, etc., etc. Let's go to the Ask an Expert part. All right, so this is sort of the portal to my interaction with all the Ask an Expert widgets I'm a part of. So I'm a part of the national system. I'm also a part of a statewide widget to answer questions. And I'm part of the widget that I've created on our website as sort of a trial, the one I showed you before. So we'll look at that as an example. Let's go to my email. Remember that I submitted a question. This is an example of the type of email you'll receive that lets you know that a question's been assigned to you at the Ask an Expert site. Okay, so it gives you the question here, what plants are good for a water garden, and it gives you a link to click on to respond to the question. It'll take you to this question, and I can say, hey, yeah, I'm working on this question, and the system will give you 2 hours to work on it. And if I want another 2 hours, I can just come in and say I need another 2 hours, and it'll accumulate time and allow me to answer the question. So what's nice is that each question has sort of its own page in this system. So you can see here's the original question here and who submitted it, where it was from, and it has a whole history of who's been involved. And at this point, it's only really been me involved in this question. But if you have more people in your widget, you may pass the question back and forth. You may be working on answers, but it provides a summary of the question history. It also assigns every single question a number. So you can see the number right up here. That's a good thing to note for referencing later. Now on the right hand side is basically your options for what to do once you're assigned a question. So the first thing you can do is assign it to someone else. And the way I can do that is say, well, I'm going to search by name. I think Lori Bushway is a good person to answer this question, so I'm going to look for her in this system. And there she is. I can click on her and pass the question off to her. If I don't know a person in particular that might be good, then I can also consider looking by location or category. So I could look for someone in ag energy in New York State in Tompkins County. Nobody there. Let's say just in New York. Is there any ag energy experts? No matching experts. Okay. So then we could look nationally and say, all right, who's our ag expert nationally? All right, so here's some options of people we could pass this question on to. Again, these people are outside of the widget, and we do encourage you to try to answer questions within, but there is that resource available for you to use. If you don't know a name or you're not having any luck finding anyone by location or category, you can hand off the question to a question wrangler by clicking on this tab. And a question wrangler is someone who's signed up to say, send any unassigned questions to me and I'll find the right person to answer it. So that's one option, is to say, I don't have the expertise for this question, I'm going to pass it off. All right, the second option here is search for an answer. So you could actually look, we could search for water garden plants and see what other questions have been asked that are in the system that might help us. There's two options here. You can search the FAQ database and the Ask an Expert database. All questions end up in the Ask an Expert database. The FAQ database is when someone in the system says this question is asked very frequently, we need to put it in the FAQ database. That question actually goes through a peer review process, and the answer is sort of checked up, additional information is supplied, and then it goes in the FAQ database. So you can check on one or both of those to search for water garden plants to see if anyone can help you with this question. All right, so it'll take you to this search results. You can look at and see where any other questions may have existed. It'll tell you when it was last updated, so if a question is a timely thing, you may not want to use an answer that's over 2 years old, something like that. And I don't really find what I'm looking for in here, and it's not exactly addressing what I need. So I can change my search options up here and try to find something else, or I can go back and simply say that didn't work and hand it off to a question wrangler or, again, to another person. Now, if you know the answer and you're ready to go, or you've done some research and you're ready to go, you can click on Reply, and it'll set up a form, which is basically sort of like an email, and it'll give you your response box here. You can do your email signature, and then you can basically submit it, and it'll send an email right back to the person that says their question has been answered, and then you're done. So let's go back to the Ask an Expert homepage, again by clicking on AaE at the top. Okay, so we're back there. Now, this is sort of how the system works. We haven't talked about specifically your county or your regional widget. So on this homepage, you can see on the right-hand side here, it says AaE widget site. All right, and so this is specifically for these little widgets that people are now creating sort of customized for their individual offices or a regional area or a statewide. Okay, there's some great information here. I really encourage you to go on to here and find out more about this system. It'll give you some information in addition to this tutorial. But what we're going to do is look for the widget that I've created and show you some of the features of a widget. So I'll go to All Widgets. And I've created one just for trial purposes called Cornell Cooperative Extension. I am the only user right now. Again, this widget is posted on our FAQ site that we pointed you to. This is the example here. Okay. Let's go back here. So I'm the only user. We don't recommend just one person handling all the questions from a widget. We recommend at least 2 and ideally more like 4 or 5. So if you don't have that many people in your office, then you may want to consider saying I want to sign up for a regional widget instead of a county widget. Okay. It'll tell you the widget status. It'll tell you some of the attributes. And here's the code that actually we can provide for you that you can put onto your website that will actually allow that little fancy box to pop up. Okay. And again, there's a few ways to customize that, and I'll get into that in more detail when you sign up. All right, so let's go to the community page. So one thing that's really useful about this is there's a community page for this widget. Okay, you can see that right there. So I click on that. What the community page does is sort of give a summary of what's going on and allows for people within a community to communicate and discuss things. Okay, so you could create a mailing list for your community down here. There's a sort of a ticker that says all the recent activity that's been going on in this community. Kind of gives a summary of that. Okay, there's a nice feature for reports, so you can look at how many questions has this community gotten, who are our users, and how many questions have we answered and unanswered. And since this is a trial, I haven't really done any activity in here, but you can see it's a nice summary of what's going on. Okay, so that's a nice tool to have sort of the community page for each widget. So again, we'll create these widgets for you, so your name will show up something like Cornell CCE Horticulture, and then underlined it'll either say Capital District if it's a regional one, or it'll say Cattaraugus County if we're doing it for a county, something like that. And then you can find that and sign up for the widget to be a member. So again, that homepage for that is about.extension.org, and we encourage you to sign up for an ID and start exploring. So the timeline for this project, it's March now, you're viewing this tutorial. What we're going to ask you to do is sign up if you're interested in participating. The way you do that is go to the link that I sent you in the email to the online form. It'll ask you some questions, and when you have all those answers, then you can submit the form to me and you'll be signed up. I also need you to go on to eExtension. That's about.extension.org and sign up for an eExtension ID, and also get anyone in your group to sign up for an ID. Once I set up the widget, I'll notify everyone in your group and let them know that the widget's ready to go, and you can sign up then to be a member of the widget community. And then towards the end of March, we're going to have a Q&A webinar, a live question and answer, where all of us can get together and discuss and troubleshoot anything before the trial begins. We're looking to start the trial in early April and conduct it from the months of April, May, and June. So all you'll be doing is everyone in your community will be fielding and responding to questions. We do encourage you to advertise and promote this tool and get people in your local community to use it and give feedback on it. We'd like to see and test the value of this as much as possible. Once the trial is over, we'll do a follow-up survey asking everyone that's a participant to respond to a few questions about if they found it useful, what they found difficult about it, etc. And in August, we'll then provide a report on what we found throughout the state and we'll have a webinar to discuss our next steps. Alright, so your next steps. Please talk to any appropriate staff and volunteers to see if they're willing to participate in this trial. This video will be made available so anyone that wants to view it can. Fill out the online form that's also at the same web page that I pointed you to. If you are interested in participating, then we do need you to sort of register with us and give us information about everyone that's participating, their contact info, whether you want a widget on a county level or a regional level, and what you want that to look like and where you want it on your website. When I set up the widget tools, I will notify everyone in the group, and we'll get your webmaster at your local office to include the widget on the pages you've specified. So I'll give that webmaster all the code associated with the widget. And then again, we want you to advertise and participate from April through July. So if you have any questions, my name's Steve Gabriel. I'm the project manager. You can find my contact info on the slide. Lori Bushway is the supervisor. Her contact info is here as well. The website is listed. That is the main repository for all the information about the project we're currently engaged in, which is not just this widget, but actually looking at all the ways we can reorganize and present our resources to help you out. You can go to that website and browse around, and feel free to ask any questions. And finally, we're asking you to submit your forms by the 18th of March to give us enough time to get things set up before the widget trial starts. So please do talk to people and get back to us as soon as you can. Thanks for tuning in.